I like redstone. A little over 2 years back, I started doing redstone contraption. Over the years, I have recognized few of the redstone contraptions as basic fundamental contraptions which you all need to know before you make any redstone contraptions whatsoever. And I thought if I could share few of them with you today in this video. A word download will be given in the description where you can practice these redstone contraptions. Well, having said that, without wasting much of your time, let's start with the video. So the first circuit we'll be looking on towards is called the monostable circuit. A monostable circuit is a circuit which converts a constant redstone input to a pulse. So how do you make your own monostable circuit? A monostable circuit can be made by using a lever, redstone dust, piston facing upwards with a block on top, redstone repeater adjacent to it, and it's done. You can confirm by placing a lamp. This circuit is called rising edge monostable circuit because whenever we flick the lever on, during the switching on of the circuit, the lamp will turn on. But if we switch off the lever, the lamp won't turn on. Hence, this is called a rising edge monostable circuit. Before we move further onto the video, I would like to explain about hard powering and soft powering to a block. A block is said to be hard powered if you power the block using a redstone repeater or a comparator. If you hard power a block, then you can take output from that block using redstone dust. However, soft powering of a block is when you power a block using redstone dust. If you soft power a block, then you will not be able to take output from that block using redstone dust. However, you can use redstone repeater or a comparator to take output from that block. Next, we have the T flip-flop. A T flip-flop is an advanced version of the monostable circuit. A T flip-flop consists of a one-tick pulse which will be sent to this piston from a monostable circuit which makes the piston spit out its block. This can be used in all sort of contraption where we want a button input converted to a constant pulse. Again, this circuit is called rising edge T flip-flop because it is happening on the rising edge of the circuit. Instead of using a button, if I use a lever, you can see only when I switch on the lever, the block gets spitted out. However, if I switch off this lever, nothing will happen. Again, if I switch it on, the block will be again retracted by the piston. To make your own T flip-flop, you need a lever, a redstone dust, a piston facing upwards, a block on its face, a repeater set to one tick, a piston and a block on its face. Now that we know the rising edge monostable and the rising edge T flip-flop, it is now time to learn about the falling edge monostable and T flip-flop. So this circuit, as the name suggests, it will only work in the falling edge of the circuit. So if I switch on, nothing will happen. While I switch off, the block gets pulled. Again, when I switch on the lever, nothing will happen. But when I switch it off, the block will be spitted out by the piston. Again, switch on, nothing happens. Switch off, the block will be retracted. This is called the falling edge monostable and the falling edge T flip-flop. To make your own falling edge T flip-flop, you need a lever, redstone dust and a block. On the face of the block, place redstone torch and 3 redstone dust like this. Then place piston facing upwards with a block on its face. And then we need a repeater facing away from the piston. Now, that forms a falling edge monostable circuit. To make that a T flip-flop or a falling edge T flip-flop, we have to attach a piston to the end of the redstone. We can place another piston with a block on its face. Now that we have understood the rising edge monostable circuit, falling edge monostable circuit, the rising edge T flip-flop and the falling edge T flip-flop, let's make both the rising edge T flip-flop and the falling edge T flip-flop side by side. Let's first make rising edge T flip-flop. A lever, redstone dust, piston facing upwards, a block up its face, and a repeater. Now let's make a falling edge monostable circuit by placing a lever, redstone dust, a block with a redstone torch adjacent to the block, redstone dust, piston on its face, a block on the top of the piston, repeater. Now, if we connect both of these to a single circuit, then it is called dual edge circuit. So if we connect the inputs together, so when I switch on the circuit, the rising edge will kick into action, pushing the block, and when I switch off, the falling edge circuit will kick in and retract the block. Now that we have learnt a few circuits, let's understand another basic circuit, which is double piston extender, where there are two pistons and they extend and contract. That happened very fast. Let's break it down and list out what all are happening. So when I switch on the circuit in the rising edge, the block under the lever is immediately powered and powers the piston adjacent to it. After exactly 1 tick delay, this piston would have come here, and this repeater after 1 tick delay will be powering that piston. In the falling edge, this piston having only a single tick delay will be retracted first, and then this piston having 2 tick delay will get retracted later. Let's see that once again. Building a double piston extender is a straightforward process where you need two pistons next to a block with the power source on the top of the block, and then we have 2 tick delay repeater and then 1 tick delay repeater in the shown orientation. Next we come to gates, which is one of the most fundamental, basic but yet powerful redstone contraptions. Here we have two gates. First we have the OR gate. OR gate states that if any one of the inputs is high, we get the output as high. For example, if I switch this lever on, because one of the input is high, the lamp turns on. If both the inputs are high, then also lamp turns on. If both are switched off, then the lamp turns off. This can be used in logic-based conditional circuits where if any one of the circuit is showing high, then we should get the output. Building an OR gate is pretty easy. You need to have two blocks and two inputs with redstone dust on its top, and this is an OR gate. It is basically a short in all the inputs. Moving on to the AND gate. AND gate states that if both the inputs are high, then the output is high. But if even one of the input is low, then the output is low. To build the AND gate, you need again two inputs. Then go back and place two redstone torches. On the top of the redstone torches, place two blocks and redstone dust on top of those blocks. Now place a redstone torch adjacent to the redstone dust. This will represent the output of the redstone AND gate. To represent that this is the output, you can also place a redstone lamp . Before we move on to the next circuit, let's learn something about the redstone comparator. First of all, the comparator always outputs the same level of signal that it receives as input. The Redstone comparator has two modes. One is the normal mode and the other is the subtract mode. In normal mode, the comparator will allow the signal to pass through provided the base signal is stronger than the signal from the sides. In subtract mode, however, the signal of the base with respect to the sides will be subtracted and given as an output. Now that we know how comparators work, we can make a clock using that comparator mechanic. Now if you use a redstone source in the base of the comparator and set the comparator to subtract mode, the output will be 15, 14, 13 and hence the output will be constantly oscillating between 15 and 2, which makes it a clock. This is one of the faster clocks that can be created in vanilla Minecraft. Comparators can also be used to increase the length of the pulse and hence they are called pulse extenders. So this is one of the easiest pulse extender in the game. So when I switch on and switch off, you can notice the redstone level gradually decreases. The more number of redstone comparators you add, the longer the pulse. Last but not the least, we have the most powerful circuit in redstone, the flying machine. A flying machine is a machine that can fly. Yes. A flying machine is based on a concept which we learnt in the first few redstone contraption, the one-tick pulse. The constant pushing and pulling of blocks is what makes flying machines possible. If I update this piston, now how do you build your own flying machine? It is quite simple. Use slime blocks and make it as a L. You can remove these two slime blocks. Then place pistons on the edge of these two slime blocks. Make sure the faces of the piston are always facing towards a slime block. Then you can place temporary blocks on the top of the pistons and you have to make sure the face of the observer is facing upwards. The reason why we use observers here is observers create one-tick pulse. If I place an observer here with a piston and a block, and if I give a block update to this observer, you can see the piston will spit out the block. Similarly, once this is done, we can update either of the pistons. So if we update this piston, the flying machine will move in that direction. And if we update this piston, it will move in that particular direction. Instead of using slime block, it is also noted that you can use honey block. But honey blocks are not full blocks, they are transparent blocks. Transparent blocks means they cannot pass redstone through them, while slime blocks can pass redstone through them. It is still possible to make flying machines using honey blocks. It is a little different than this design. Do make sure you check out the video description for the world download, which also contains a honey block flying machine. Comment down in the video description if you want to see a video entirely based on a particular component or a particular contraption like a flying machine or a comparator. I hope you enjoy the video and thank you for watching.